Good afternoon, class. So for our meeting this afternoon, we will just discuss your hematocrit determination.
좋은 친구가 됐을 텐데 친구가 난 할 얘기가 무서워.
Nag-aaral ata ng Chinese si Miss Copita. Course, naririnig ako.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, class, good afternoon. So for our meeting today, we will just discuss your final activity for the midterms, which is your hematocrit determination. So na-discuss na natin yung hemoglobin, WBC count nyo. Now we're gonna discuss your hematocrit determination. Okay, your hematocrit class, as you know in your lecture, is also known as your packed cell volume. This is the ratio of the volume of RBC to that of your whole blood. It is usually expressed as percentage or decimal. It is a test that measures the proportion of your RBC to plasma in the peripheral blood. So I already discussed this in the lecture. This is more of a recap na lang, class. But nonetheless, I'll still explain it further. But this time on a more technical aspect kung paano siya ginagawa sa laboratory. Okay, here are the clinical importance of your hematocrit determination. It would give a rough estimate the size of your RBC and the concentration of RBC, but not the whole RBC mass. So remember, kasi diba sa hematocrit, meron tayong dalawang klase, yung venous and yung body hematocrit. So you won't get a total picture of your hematocrit of your red blood cell kasi remember your body hematocrit contains arterial blood. So sa venous naman wala namang arterial blood dyan. Then it is also used in the calculation of your blood indices, specifically your MCV and MCHC. Now, you can also obtain the buffy coat from the hematocrit tube, which has many uses. Class, can you give me a use of your buffy coat? Saan siya ginagamit? If na-recall niyo yung natin last time, sa smearing. Sa platelet count, ano ba? Platelet count. Tapos, sa platelet count, what else? Oo, makukuha mo yung buffy coat mo for centrifugation, DNA extraction, buffy coat, hindi naman. Okay, for leukopenia. So kapag may leukopenia yung patient nyo, you're going to use your buffy coat smear. What else, class? Sa may lupus, aside from lupus, isa pa. To detect your megaloblasts. To detect your megaloblasts. Okay. All right. Hematocrit is a good and simple screening test for anemia. So, pag may anemia kayo, class, usually decrease ang hematocrit nyo, decrease ang hemoglobin, decrease ang RBC. Then, hematocrit results are very reliable due to less error compared with your RBC count. Kasi di ba class sa RBC count nyo, specifically yung manual method, subjective. So, pag sinabi nyo subjective, pwedeng paiba-iba yung pag-read nyo ng RBC sa hemocytometer. Okay? Okay, there are different methods, class, in your hematocrit determination. The first one is your macro method. Now, in your macro method, macro meaning big, you would be using here what we call a Weintraub tube, also known as your hematocrit tube. Now, one of those method, class, under the macro method is known as your Weintraub method. So Weintraub method, class, you would be using the anticoagulant double oxalate. Ang procedure dito, class, you would fill up the Weintraub tube up to the 10 centimeter mark. So teka, tingnan muna natin. Pakita ko sa inyo yung Weintraub tube. So ito yung Weintraub tube nyo, class. Parang baliktad ko. Drawing ko na lang. Ito yung Weintraub tube nyo. It would have markings from 0 to 10. You would fill it up until the 10 centimeter mark with oxalated blood. Avoid bubble formation. Then you're going to centrifuge it at 2500 RPM for 30 minutes. Then you're going to observe for the following: the plasma, the buffy coat, and the packed cell. So imagine this would be your Weintraub tube. After centrifugation, class, you will have 3 layers. You have your packed cell volume, you have your buffy coat, and you also have your plasma layer. So plasma is the liquid portion, your buffy coat contains WBCs and platelet, your packed cell would contain your red cells. Then you're going to read the hematocrit, class, at the bottom. Start ka sa baba ng buffy coat layer until the upper layer ng packed cell. So you're going to read it like that. Again, you're gonna read it, class, from the lower layer ng buffy coat to the up, from the lower layer ng buffy coat pababa until sa pinaka lowest part ng packed cell. Okay. To give you a better understanding, class, ito itsura niya. Excuse me. So you have your plasma, your buffy coat, your packed red cell, and your wax plug. So ang babasahin nyo, class, would be start from the bottom layer of the buffy coat until the last part of the bottom part of your packed cell. So this would be your hematocrit. So you have your red cells, your buffy coat of WBCs and platelets, and your plasma. Okay, here's your Winthrop tube class. It has a length of 110 millimeters. So 110 millimeters yung haba niya. It has an internal diameter of 2.5 millimeters. It has a total diameter of 3 millimeters. So do take note. So pag sinabi niyong internal diameter class, that would refer to yung bore niya, yung butas niya. But the entire space or area is a total of 3 millimeters. Ngayon siya class. So if you fill nyo until the 10 centimeter mark, you would fill it until the 10 centimeter mark. After filling it, you would centrifuge it. Isi-centri nyo siya for 30 minutes at 25 revolutions per minute. Don't forget that. After centrifugation, 2,500 to 3,000, you would now get your 3 layers. So you have your packed cell volume layer, yung very thin, you notice here, this is the very thin buffy coat layer. And we have your plasma. Sobrang nipis lang yan class ng buffy coat yan unless may infection yung patient. So kapag may infection yung patient, dadami yung WBC, kakapal yung buffy coat. Okay, here are sources of error class. Hemolyzed sample. Blood sample to be brought to room temperature before testing. Time and speed of centrifuge is important for maximum packing of RBC. Blood to anticoagulant ratio, reading of results, and manual versus automated. So let's go through them one by one. Let's start with your hemolyzed sample. Hemolyzed sample may give falsely decreased results and should not be used. Class, bakit? Bakit ka magkakaroon ng falsely decreased hematocrit result kapag hemolyzed yung EDTA mo? Plus, bakit? Ano ba nangyayari kapag may hemolysis? Damage ang RBC. Ruptured ang RBC. So kapag ruptured ang RBC, ano mangyayari sa hematocrit mo? Maglo-low siya kasi di ba ang hematocrit nyo class, your hematocrit is composed of RBCs. So if you have hemolysis, you would have decreased RBC. And when you have decreased RBC, you would have decreased hematocrit. Magbaba. At marami pa rin hindi nag-on cam. Wala kayong reason para mag-off cam. Hindi tayo naka-BBB. Balik na lang tayo ng BBB class pag mag-off cam lang din kayo. Yeah. Isin nyo na, konti na lang, ano na lang, isang buwan na lang, bakasyon na kayo. So again, class, in hemolyzed sample, you would have falsely decreased hematocrit due to having your RBC destroyed, leading to decreased hematocrit. Okay. Then there's also the time and speed of centrifugation are important factors in obtaining maximum packing of the red cell. Inadequate centrifugation will result in falsely elevated results due to excessive trapped plasma. So kapag class, nag-centri kayo tapos masyadong mabilis yung time, instead of 30 minutes, ginawa mong 10 minutes. 10 minutes lang. 10 minutes lang. Hindi properly settled. RBCs are not properly settled or packed. Ngayon, kapag hindi siya properly settled or packed, magkakaroon ng tinatawag na spaces. And sa spaces na yan, class, plasma would enter. Plasma would enter and it would cause your hematocrit to become falsely elevated. Again, if there is insufficient time of centrifugation, RBCs are not properly packed. Hindi sila magbubuo-buo class. And that would cause spaces. Yung mga spaces na yon, papasok si plasma and that would lead to a falsely elevated hematocrit. Intindihan? Okay. Another one would be your blood and anticoagulant ratio is particularly important when using EDTA. Excessive EDTA will cause a falsely decreased hematocrit due to shrinkage of red blood cell. Plus, kailan nangyayari na merong excessive EDTA sa specimen? When will that happen? Plus, kailan nagkakaroon ng excess EDTA? Pag underfilled. Kapag underfilled yung sample. Remember kailan falsely decrease, falsely increase ang hematocrit niyo. So kapag underfilled yung sample, it would cause your RBCs to shrink. Side effect ng too much EDTA. Okay, another one would be falsely increased hematocrit when you include the buffy coat in the reading. So let's say ito yung macrohematocrit mo. This is your packed cell volume. This is your buffy coat. This is your plasma. Let's say na ikaw nagmamadali ka, you were rushing, nagmamadali ka. So sobrang pagmamadali mo, class, sinama mo yung buffy coat sa pag-reading. So instead of reading it like this, na packed cell lang, you included the buffy coat. So that would cause a falsely increased hematocrit. Then in disease state, na-include mo din yung buffy coat, causing significant error. So nasa macro method pa lang tayo. Okay. Now, ito pa isa pang error. Failure to read your hematocrit within 10 minutes after centrifuge stops will result in predispersion incompatibility of red cells in plasma and a slanting of the red cell plasma interface, causing a falsely elevated reading. Halimbawa, class, sinentry mo yung macrohematocrit tube. Tapos binasa mo siya after 1 hour. May possibility, class, na yung red cell nyo kumalat, mag-disperse. Kapag nag-disperse yan, magmumukha na yun siyang part ng hematocrit. So instead of reading it like this, yung tama, you would now include the dispersed part ng hematocrit. So after centrifugation, you must read it immediately. Now, another source of error, class, would be your manual versus automatic or automated. Kapag manual reading kayo, class, you have a higher error of 1 to 2% because kayo ang nagbabasa. There might be what we call human error. Pero kapag automated, si machine, lesser ang error due to having higher accuracy. Questions? Okay. So these are the different classes. Aside from your Adams method, we also have different macro methods. You have your Hayden's modification method, which uses anticoagulant of 1.1% sodium oxalate. Van Allen's method, which uses 1.6% sodium oxalate. Sanford-Magad method, which uses 1.3% sodium oxalate. And Brace method, which uses heparin as anticoagulant. So lahat sila, class, lahat ng procedure nila, same lang kanina as your Winthrop method or Adams method. Nagtalo-talo lang sila, class, sa anticoagulant. Anong anticoagulant nyo, class, sa Adams method? EDTA. Hindi EDTA, Mr. Sines. Hindi EDTA. Hindi heparin. Ayan, nakuha sa Kobo. Double oxalate. Pero kasi, class, alam niyo, in real practice, ang gagamitin niyo dyan talaga is EDTA pa rin. Ewan ko ba bakit nakalagay sa book double oxalate pero hindi naman pinapagamit kapag in real practice yun. At the end of the day, pag sa real practice nyo sa laboratory, you're still going to use EDTA. Okay, if you're done copying, let's move to the next slide. So after your macro method, we would have now your Adams micro method. So mga micro method naman tayo, class. This time, you would be using your heparinized capillary hematocrit tube. Now, itong mga capillary tube nyo, class, would have a size of, will have a length of 7 centimeters and an internal diameter of 1.0 millimeters. So, I think most of you naman nakakita na ng mga capillaries. So ang length daw niya is 7 centimeters. Ang diameter niya is 1 millimeter. Now, there are two types of capillate. So if you notice class, yung mga capillates niya minsan may mga band yan. May red saka blue. So kapag red, this is used for your capillary blood. While your blue will be used for venous blood. So may question ako, class. Sino sa tingin nyo sa dalawang yan ang merong anticoagulant? Si red ba or si blue? Bakit si red? Miss Akobo, Mr. Fakori, bakit si red? Oo nga. Oo nga, bakit nga? I mean, bakit? Oo nga, may heparin nga siya. So bakit? Bakit red? I mean, bakit siya yung ano, siya yung may anticoagulant? Bakit si blue wala? What do you think is the reason? Anong method of phlebotomy nyo gagamitin si red capillate class? Anong phlebotomy technique? Capillary puncture. So in capillary puncture class, kailangan nyo 'di ba na hindi mag-clot yung blood, correct? So importante si capillate nyo merong anticoagulant. How about si blue class? Anong method of phlebotomy ang gagamitin nyo sa blue capillate? Para makolekt yung blood sa capillate nyo. So venipuncture. So Miss Rona, kung magbe-venipuncture ka, saan mo muna ilalagay yung blood? Anong tube? Anong tube? O tube? Anong tube? EDTA. So kung meron na siyang anticoagulant, anong gagamitin yung capillate? Yung walang anticoagulant. So yung blue. Yung walang anticoagulant. Tandaan niyo yan, class, ha? Kapag red capillate has already heparin. It is heparinized and is used for capillary blood. While your blue capillate does not contain anticoagulant and would need venous blood with EDTA. Okay, so here, class, ang procedure is that you're going to fill 2 capillary tubes, 2/3 full of blood. So imagine this would be your capillate. You would fill it 2/3 full. Then seal the empty end with modeling clay. So seal niya to, class. Then you're going to place it in a micro hematocrit centrifuge with sealed end away from the center. Centrifuge for 45 minutes at 10,000 to 12,000 RCF. Then compare the capillary tube with a reading graph. So the first step you need to do, class, in your microhematocrit is you're going to perform capillary puncture. So lance the finger and wipe off the first drop of blood. Collect it. Fill the tube to 2/3 or 3/4 full. Then seal the dry end with a tube with sealant or use self-sealing techniques. Fill nyo siya 3/4. Seal nyo ng wax or ng clay. Then clean off any excess blood from outside the tube. Then isi-centri nyo. Then you're going to place, after centrifugation, if you notice, nag-separate na yung layer. Hindi masyado makita yung buffy coat. Then you have your plasma, your buffy coat na sobrang nipis, and yung hematocrit. Then you're gonna read it. So ipapakita ko sa inyo, class, yung manual hematocrit reader. Wait lang ha. Okay, I'm back. So class, ito yung gagamitin yung clay pang seal. Now, this would be your capillate tube container. Sige, may demo ko na rin sa inyo. Wait lang. Wala akong blue na capillate. Puro red lang. Demo ko red. So example class, this would be your blood. Now, we're gonna do your, so pasensya na, this is gonna be a heparinize. Matapunan yung laptop eh. So you're going to fill, mix nyo muna yung blood. So you're going first to fill the capillate, 2/3. Two-thirds or 3/4. So kapag fill na siya class, you're gonna seal the end with clay. So just press it. Then, kita nyo, na-seal na siya ng clay sa ilalim. After that, nire-require kasi sa atin class in your practice to add paraffin wax. Now, the purpose of your paraffin wax here is to further prevent na mag-leak yan. So, ikakaskas nyo lang siya class in a diagonal pattern. So if you notice, meron na siyang, meron kang clay layer and you have your wax layer. So after that, after none class is you're going now to, sama natin si laptop. You're going to put this in a micro hematocrit centrifuge. So this would be your micro hematocrit. Yan. Yan yung micro hematocrit centrifuge niya. Ma'am, patulong nga. Ma'am, Karel, patulong. Pahawak ako, ma'am. Ganyan lang. Steady yan. Steady lang. Ganyan. Thank you, ma'am. So, class, you're going to... Abante ka onte. Lapit ka onte. So, you're going to place this class in the... Kumapakita eh. In the microhematocrit centrifuge. So, ganyan siya. Then, you would seal it. You would seal it. Sorry. Mahina na ata yung signal. So, yun. You would seal it and then would run. So, pasensya na. Mahina na ata yung signal ko. Thank you, ma'am. Sa ganun, class, I hope you got the gist of it. Tapos after nun class, after nyo ma-sentry siya, you're going to read it in your hematocrit manual reader. Ayun. Try lang ako na ipakita sa inyo kaso ang hirap kasi. Maybe next time I'm gonna show dadala ko ng webcam para mas madali ang camera. Okay, any questions? All right. So now let's proceed, class, to the difference of your macro and micro method. Okay. Sa macro method nyo, class, what do you think is the method of blood collection? Sige nga, try nga natin sagutan. Based sa diniscuss ko kanina, what do you think is the method of blood collection for your macro method? Hula. Okay, venipuncture. How about your micro method? Papilya. Hindi, may sagot na sila sa homework. How about yung amount of blood sa macro? Larger. Smaller. How about your relative centrifugal force, class, sa macro method? Okay, 25 RPM. Pwede ring 2,000 to 2,300 G. Kapag micro method naman class, it can go as 10,000. No? 10,000 to 12,000 G. How about yung time of centrifugation ni macro? Macro class, macro. 30 minutes. Kapag si micro naman class, shorter. 4 to 5 minutes. Wow, walang ni Korea. Saan mo nakita? Saan ang source mo?
Malinaw, sir.
Okay. Tapos, ito class, simplicity of technique. Sino ang mas simple sa kanilang dalawa? Sino mas madaling gawin? Si macro o si micro? Okay. So, simple. Complicated. Okay. ESR class. Can you do ESR sa micro o sa macro method? Sa tingin nyo, saan pwede gawin ng ESR? Macro. Okay. So, can be done. Can be done with Wintrobe. Wintrobe tube. Cannot be done sa micro. Cannot be done. Okay, sa spilling or leakage, saan mas common na nangyayari ang spilling or leakage niya? Sure, micro. So, mas common sa micro class ang spilling and leakage. Not common. How about breakage of buffy coat? Saan mas common? Okay, micro. Separation of buffy coat class. Which of this is complete or not complete? Yung talagang nasa-separate yung buffy coat. Anong method? Okay, complete. Incomplete. And then, cost of apparatus. Sino yung mas mahal? More expensive? Macro. Cheaper. Okay, please copy. Bisagap na kayo sa homework class. Okay, share done. Okay, so here are the normal values of your hematocrit. So kapag men, 40 to 54%, women, 37 to 47, pag newborn, 44 to 64. Clinical significance, increase ang hematocrit mo in polycythemia, decrease in anemia. Okay, if you're done copying, that ends our discussion in hematocrit. So may questions ba, class? Okay, so we still have, I'll be dismissing you early at 3 p.m. So while we still have time, let's have a recitation. So if you're not able to recite,